Occasionally, it may be necessary for BA teams to re-enter a risk area to perform a specific task after they have withdrawn from the original entry, closed down their set and reported to the ECO. To allow a re-entry, the officer in charge must be satisfied that servicing of the sets has not been started, the re-entry is for a clearly defined specific task, the cylinder contents of the wearers are sufficient to the task, the pressure gauges of all wearers register a minimum of 130 bars, and there are no doubts about the fitness of any of the BA wearers for the task to be done. The general rule of a minimum of 80% cylinder contents before entry may be ignored in these circumstances. The ECO must record fresh details for all team members involved in the re-entry procedure. In calculating the working duration, the ECO should regard all team members as having a cylinder pressure of 130 bar. For all circumstances where a BA team re-enters a risk area, the entry control board should be appropriately annotated. Unless unavoidable, the OIC should ensure that BA wearers are rested before re-entry to a risk area. This is particularly important if the conditions are difficult or strenuous. Wearer in distress. Any incident where breathing apparatus is being used to enable the wearer to breathe independently of the surrounding environment malfunctions in such a way as to be likely either to deprive the wearer of oxygen or, in the case of use in a contaminated atmosphere, to expose the wearer to a contaminant, to the extent in either case of posing a danger to his or her health. Entrapment procedure. The aim of the entrapment procedure is to allow a BA wearer to maximize the duration of the BA in the event of becoming trapped and being unable to withdraw from the risk area. In these circumstances, the BA wearer should operate the DSU, relax as much as possible in the circumstances, breathe calmly and gently, try to make radio contact with the ECO or other BA teams. If in charge of a branch is available and can be operated, any combustible material in the vicinity should be saturated. Any supplementary air function should not be operated. The cylinder valve should not be adjusted other than to check it is fully open. The low pressure warning whistle will sound when the cylinder pressure has fallen to a point where only the safety margin remains. The air consumed by this operation of the low cylinder pressure warning is low. BA team members should encourage each other to remain conscious and alert at all times. Emergency procedures. When do we commit an emergency team? If a team fails to return by the time of whistle, a DSU is operated, a dangerous situation is developing, prolonged breakdown in communications, or a BA wearer in distress. Situation, a BA entry control operative will immediately inform the person responsible for the entry control point or the airport incident commander. If the above is not available, then contact Dorset and Wiltshire Fire and Rescue Service with the message KT Bournemouth Airport Fire BA Emergency, followed by any specific details about the incident. The objective of an entry control point is to secure a focal point for the effective management of BA incidents and the safe control of access to and egress from the risk area. Siting a BA entry control point should take into account the size of the risk area, the location of access points to the risk area, the type of aircraft or building, the wind direction, the type of building, the physical limitations of the site, in particular any obstruction to the firefighting and effective controls, the likely development of the incident. BA entry control points should be sited as near to the scene of operations as possible, taking into account the safety so that the maximum duration of BA can be used. In safe air and in such position that should the incident deteriorate, it will not be necessary to relocate. So that far as possible, the position of the entry control officer is easily located by all BA wearers. The OIC should be aware of the location of all entry control points, and the number of entry control points should be the minimum necessary to deal with the incident effectively. Rapid deployment. To apply a minimum safety control procedure where crew members available are limited and where persons at great risk require very urgent assistance, or where dangerous escalation of the incident can be prevented. Rapid deployment or procedures are only for use in exceptional circumstances. The procedure may be used only when the number of BA wearers in a risk area does not exceed 2. It is immediately clear that persons are at great risk and in need of rescue, and are either within view or known to be within a short distance of the entry point, or a dangerous escalation of the incident can be prevented by immediate and limited action. Confined space. Any space that has a limited means of egress, not intended for continual occupancy, which may have the potential for an oxygen deficient or hazardous atmosphere, or where the potential for engulfment may occur. Actions on entering a smoke-filled aircraft. Carry out the correct door procedures. Be aware of flashover, backdraft or collapsed floors. Check security of floor before advancing. Call out at regular intervals. Where possible, begin search from extreme front or rear. Regular gauge checks. Work systematically floor, seats and overhead. Ventilate if it is safe to do so. Note number of seat rows and the direction they face. If possible, use radios for communications. Use vision before applying media. Keep entry and exit paths clear. Keep low, shuffle, use back of hand. Visibility may be better at low level. Wide-bodied or multi-level aircraft will require several BA teams. BA team leaders must withdraw their team if any member has an uncontrollable loss of pressure, appears to be unwell, confused or in discomfort, especially when exposed to rapid temperature increases, has a gauge which has become faulty or unreadable, has been exposed to an irrespirable atmosphere due to BA failure, has a low pressure warning whistle activating. Duties of a BA team leader are to ensure the team is fully briefed before entry into the risk area, coordinate gauge checks and ensure that the team return to the entry control point before any low pressure warning whistle activates, or if appropriate within the limits previously agreed with the OIC. Monitor the working conditions to be aware of the potential psychological effects that may cause the team members' working durations to change. Update the entry control officer if communication equipment is being used. Inform the entry control officer as soon as is practical of any development of the operational incident that is likely to be considered significant by the officer in charge. Duties of a Stage 1 entry control operative. Provide a BA entry control board complete with suitable waterproof marker if required. Set up and operate the BA entry control board as Stage 1 control. Record BA wearers' entry and monitor their estimated air supply. Apply the procedures for use of related BA equipment. For identification purposes, wear a black and yellow checkered BA control tabard. Take up position nominated by the Airport Incident Commander or External Sector Commander. Identify the BA entry control procedures and operation. Identify who is responsible for the entry control point. Identify who is the entry control operative. Entry control point is to be identified using phonetic alphabet. First entry point to be Airport Alpha. Ensure the time is accurate on the entry control board clock. Receive tallies and check all relevant information before entering the risk area. Maintain communications with BA teams in risk area. Enter the time in on each tally. identify BA team members responsible for communications, place tallies in the entry control board, identify teams by bracketing together, the earliest time of whistle clearly indicated, overwrite the names of the BA wearers on the entry control board, BA teams to withdraw by a predetermined gauge reading, on instruction from the airport incident commander, restrict exposure to difficult conditions, take into account any elapsed time since entry of BA wearers, monitor the time to whistle, indicate the location of teams. When BA teams exit, remove their tallies from the entry control board. Where a BA team re-enters a risk area, annotate the entry control board. Keep persons responsible for entry control point fully informed. When working with Dorset and Wiltshire, be aware of monitoring issues. Carry out communication checks. Inform the OIC of any prolonged breakdown in comms. Duties of a BA wearer at an incident. Ensure that BA is donned and fitted correctly in safe air. Ensure they are fully aware of their brief, tasks, and instructions. Ensure personal protective equipment is fitted correctly. Hand BA tally to the BA entry control operative before entering the risk area. Test communication equipment with BA entry control operative to ensure functionality. If detailed, to use firefighting media. Check that all equipment is tested by operating prior to entry. Check cylinder contents just prior to entering the risk area. Carry out safe movement at all times utilising safe and effective firefighting and/or search and rescue techniques. Maintain contact and regular available communications with the BA team leader and other members of the BA team and update them regarding any relevant information, including hazards. RIDDOR. What is reportable? During testing, immediately prior to use in such a way that had the malfunction occurred while the apparatus was in use, it would have posed a danger to the health and safety of the user. Don and startup procedure, for example. Any discovered or occurring actual use in a contaminated atmosphere. Any discover or occurring during checks when used in a contaminated atmosphere. Any discovered or occurring while equipment is still being worn after leaving the contaminated atmosphere. A general test is carried out at the start of a shift, after use, before use if the set is not the one assigned to you at the start of the shift, after servicing or when ordered to do so by an OIC. Testing is done at the start of a shift, before use, after use, monthly and annually by an interspira technician, and a monthly test is done by carrying out a minimum of a 50 bar wear or during an exercise.